there, YouTube. New project. Every year about this time, it seems like I get a hankering for some Tamiya in my life. Last year we built the M06 Beetle kit, and this year I was looking at buggies, and I was really thinking about getting a Hornet kit or a Grasshopper or something like that. I've never had one of those, but I was looking at them. Those are very toy grade-ish. I mean, they're still considered a hobby grade RC, but it's all plastic chassis and stuff like that. Very inexpensive stuff. And I did that Sand Scorcher last year or before last, I don't even remember. And I love that chassis, the realism of it. So I've got to looking around, and I found this on eBay, and we worked out a deal. It was a guy locally, so went and picked that up, and here we are. This is a Tamiya Rough Rider buggy. It's the same chassis as the Sand Scorcher and the what's the other one? Like Super Champ, some things like that. And yeah, it's in pretty good original shape. These came out, I think, in 1979. This one has the beige colored bumper. I think that dates it to the 80s at some point. I'm sure somebody out there knows a little more history on it. I tried to look up some more history on these, but I couldn't really find a good source. I was going through forums, like Tamiya Club and stuff like that, and then, yeah, it's just hit or miss as far as history goes. People will get on there and they start arguing over black bumpers are worth more than the beige bumpers and all that stuff. It's like, I don't really care. I mean, it's still, whether it's 79 or 85, it's still vintage and it's still cool. So, yeah, we're going to take a close look at this thing, and we're going to start cleaning it up a little bit. It does need a little work. It's got a bunch of outdated electronics in it, and it's got some issues with the suspension. This shock over here is all but seized up. Doesn't want to play very nice. Tires are pretty dry, but I think we're going to drive them till they explode, and then we'll replace them. But yeah, I do plan on driving this thing. I'm not going to repaint it or anything. I mean, it's got a pretty decent paint job. It's seen some wrecks and repairs and stuff. This one light mount up here is broken off, but he did have a replacement piece. Just needs to be painted and installed. But yeah, I'm just going to clean it up. We're going to go through it little by little, and won't be driving it in this video because it needs all electronics and stuff. But we're going to tear into it and clean it up. So first up, we remove the body. I don't believe this is original. It's got some aluminum screw mount body post in the front. It's kind of neat. Don't know if that was an option or something somebody made from something else. The rear is just a metal clip that hooks around the roll bar here. Again, the body, they blacked out the inside at least. It's got a little, I mean, they did it with like a paint pen or something. Needs some touching up, but there's no major cracks. There's no severe damage. It's pretty solid. It's got some, I think I used to have a different sticker here that somebody decided against, but it was clear coated over maybe. So, yeah. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that. First thing I'm going to do with the body is I'm going to go probably spray it down with some scrubbing bubbles and hose it off with some warm water, and we'll see what that does. This thing is pretty well complete. We've got the original tub here. Screws are loose. It's not mounted in the rear. I'm not sure how that even goes together. I'm going to have to get online and download the instruction manual for it. I'm sure there's a lot of similarities with the Sand Scorcher, but that Sand Scorcher I had was a re-release, and it had an aftermarket frame when I bought it. I bought it from someone who already started the build, so it's not completely stock. So we'll open up the box here. I was trying to figure out how this works, and it's got some spring-loaded little thing. I've never seen that. It's kind of cool. You just quarter turn, it pops right open. It's actually pretty cool. Alright, so what do we have? Big giant servo. What in the heck? Huh. So it's got a mechanical speed control. You can see the little, what do you call them? Little MOSFET type heat distribution thing block. Not sure what you call it. But yeah, I've never seen one that actually mounted to the servo like that. That's kind of cool. They've actually two-sided taped the mechanical speed controller on the servo, and it has very short links to it. It does not have a radio, just has the speed controller and servo. It's pretty old stuff. I've never seen a connector like that. That is wild. The pins are offset too. I don't know what radio that was. Servo says Futaba IC servo FP-517 or S17. So that's pretty cool. So I'm looking at this. I don't guess this mounts in the rear at all. It looks like it's got one screw through here on the bottom of the chassis. It does have a crack in the bottom, but it's not terrible. Looks like there was a small fire in here. What is this thing? I'm going to pry some of this stuff out. We're not going to use any of this. It's too old. That looks like a breaker. That's the... Wow. That actually looks like a breaker, like at a breaker box in your house. So that's on the positive side of the battery. So I guess that's the safety in case the voltage surged, it would shut off. Huh. Pretty cool. This servo, the steering servo is just taped in, and it has that funky link. It works. It works just fine. The boot on there is actually in good shape. It's just come loose from that little deal. I've never had one of the original. The Sand Scorcher we did, like I said, it had an aftermarket chassis, which made me have to put the servo in a different spot, and I just used RC 4-wheel drive rods and rod ends to connect it. Made a nice solid mount, but that's kind of odd and cool, old school. So yeah, we won't be using any of this good stuff here. That'll go into the old parts box of mystery. What else? The motor and everything feels fantastic. The gears and stuff feel fine. Like I said, the steering servo actually feels pretty good. Got a lot of slop in the wheels. I'm not sure. That still has a brass bushing, so we have no ball bearings in it. Can assume probably the whole thing is not ball bearinged. So that'll definitely be an upgrade we'll do just for all intents and purposes. I like to upgrade it a little bit. Back here, got our old metal diff case, gearbox. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over words today. The swing arms and everything look good. They're pretty solid back here. Got a little bit of slop in the shaft, in the knuckle on the shaft. I'm not sure how much of that's original and how much isn't. We'd have to see running it. If it's chattery, it might be a problem. It might wear itself out pretty fast. Like I said, that shock's pretty stiff. It kind of stays down. This one seems to be working fine. The front suspension actually is fantastic. It feels great. It's got the springs, factory springs on it. I love this. It's got the original whip antenna. So yeah, we'll pull this off here. The heat thing. Probably have to remove the whole box, get all the wires fed through. And where's the motor? The motor is actually soldered to it. So we'll probably pull that out. That's an old blacktop motor. That may be the original motor that came with it as well. But that'll be worth doing some investigating on. So yeah, I'm going to do some exploring here because, like I said, I don't have any instructions or anything, and we'll start pulling some stuff apart. So I've got a little bit of it stripped down. I've got the tub, electronics tub, and the body rinsed off, cleaned, and drying. I think I've discovered a little problem. My driver's side shaft here, I think, is bent. It looks like it's bent right at the wheel plate. I'm not sure if you can see it wobbling there a little bit. You can see it in person. Looks like it's bent right where that goes on. Yeah, that's not good. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and download the instruction manual and see what part numbers and stuff, and see how available that is on the internet. I know I could probably swap it out with something off the re-release. I'm not sure how similar they are. I'm sure they're updated, at least the knuckles are. It's just fine because these have a ton of slop in them anyway. I probably will go ahead and do both. This side's got way more slop than that side does, but now we got a bent shaft. But that's how it goes. This thing is oiled up. I don't know with what. There's all kinds of oil between. We've got that aluminum plate under the fiberglass chassis piece, and it's just, I mean, you can see it squishing around in there. The knuckles for the drive shafts, output shafts here look like somebody actually lubed them up with motor oil. It's got all kinds of stuff on them. It does have, what is that, 2.5 mil 3mm hardware on all of the gearbox and the rear of the body, or the rear of everything, the front shocks. So somebody's been in it since it was new, and obviously with the bent shaft like that, it's been driven pretty vigorously. I'm not really sure how you do it, because that's a pretty solid piece, and this doesn't weigh a whole lot, so it takes some skill to bend that like that. That could mean that the reason this shock sticks is maybe the shaft is bent on it as well, but it feels good. It's just dry. So all this oil on here, I'm going to go ahead and spray this thing with some degreaser. I think it's clean enough. I'm not going to run it yet until we tear in the gearbox and everything, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to clean up what we got and go from there. I did also notice, I kept seeing online they were calling these front bumpers beige or black, and I saw somebody mention gray ones. Apparently, I think this used to be gray. You see it's got some stress marks in it where it's been hit pretty hard and bent, but the bottom side of it looks way more gray than the top. It's just faded and sun bleached, I guess, to a beige yellowy color. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse, more rare, older, newer. Doesn't really matter. I'll probably take the bumper off, honestly, just because it doesn't look scale. I like to keep the scale look as much as possible. Yeah, we've got new upgraded hardware there as well. So yeah, we'll go clean it and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got it all torn apart here. I was trying to get all the grease and stuff off. It's not coming off. It really needs to be completely disassembled, and I need to like dishwasher wash the cast pieces and stuff like that. The shock has some fluid in it. I think it's just dried up. Feels like it's hanging on something in there. But I'm going to fill it up with some, all I got is 30 weight axial oil here, so that's all I'm going to do. See if that helps any. See if we can blow the air out of it without spilling it. It didn't really leave any air. See if that helps any. If not, it's most likely a bent shaft. I can't tell without taking it apart. Well, actually from this angle it does look a little bent. This thing's been rode hard and put up wet, I think. It looks like my front suspension has a slight bend in it as well. Not bad enough to worry about, but it looks like the front passenger side shock tower is slightly forward of the other one. And I can't tell. It may just be an optical illusion because that grain in that fiberglass goes off. It's not straight with the lines of everything this way. It's off just a little bit. So looking at it, it's hard to tell if anything's square or not. This thing's a mess. That fluid in there looks about like real gear oil mixed with coolant, mixed with something. Look pretty bad. Let's see if that helps any. I'll throw the nut back on. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side while we're here. The front shocks seem fine. There's probably not much of anything in them, but I'm not going to tear it apart that far just yet. Oh, the shaft came through. I'm going to wait, try to track down these parts that I know I need, and you know, then we can get more serious about it. I'm not even going to pull the motor out today. I need to do some more research on it and you know, try to see what I've actually got here. Feels a little better. The O-rings are probably shot, but yeah, this side feels pretty dry. So I'm going to do that, and yeah, we'll start looking at reassembling everything. So I'm halfway through putting it back together here. Not putting any electronics or anything in it right now. I'm going to have to do some hunting for the parts that we're needing. I cleaned the tires and wheels up as best I could. The wheels have a lot of hairline cracks. Like the bearing, the bushings won't stay in. They keep falling out. So I've got these, but they, yeah, I don't know. It's not going to fix our issue. Still have to replace the back half because that's where it's cracked the most at. Those came off with my sand scorcher. They just didn't really go with the theme that we ended up doing. Like I said, I'm going to leave the bushings in there for now because we're not going to be running it just yet. Got the electronics box cleaned up a little bit. It's got a few cracks, mainly where it attaches to the chassis. The rear, I'm not sure how that actually works. It's got 2 screws that go all the way through the chassis. It actually rolls pretty good for brass bushing. But that one, there's not a whole lot left of the rubber, so it's not expanding when you screw it into the plastic. And yeah, so it's still will pop loose on the backside, but whatever. We'll fix that when the time comes, because it's an odd design. But like I said, I need to get the instructions and do a little research on this thing. Got most of the metal parts cleaned up pretty good. The tires are pretty bad. I don't think these would survive one drive, really. They're pretty dry. Once they got wet, they started cracking real bad on the sides. I'm afraid to even squeeze it real hard because I think it's just gonna come apart. But you know, it'll be fine for display purposes for now. I'm not sure yet what all I want to do. I was looking at parts on Shapeways. You know, Knight Customs has a full line of scale Volkswagen motors like I have on the Sand Scorcher. And yeah, he's got ones that fit this as well. And I'd like to go a little more scale. I mean, these are old, but these are some of the ultimate scale RCs. I mean, it's got a realistic torsion beam front end like Volkswagen's had. I mean, it's legit scale. Rear motor, rear transmission. The shock's a little better. It's still got a hang up in it. I think either the shaft's slightly bent or it's got a cut in it. It's got a groove in it that is not permitting it to move up and down all the way. You can feel it when you're moving it up. There's kind of a bump in it. So some new rear shocks. That whole corner back there is going to need redone, but fronts feel fine. I didn't even check them for oil, but they've got good rebound, nice and springy. The rear is very mellow. The torsion bars, if you've seen these, it's got 2 metal bars that bend and they attach with a brass coupling underneath this box. This holds it down when you screw this to the chassis, and they seem pretty straight. They're pretty worn out. I did replace those on my Sand Scorcher as well. The ones I had, it had been modified with internal spring shocks, and they cut the torsion bars off. So I put stock torsion bars back on, and it does give it a very upright stance. It'll make it have a lot of positive camber. But that's how these are, and they're made to jump and do all that stuff. So we've even got our little rubber boot for the on-off switch. I took the bumper off. I didn't like that, so keep it scale. What else? I think that's it. We're ready to put the body back on. It is cleaned up a little bit. It looks like it's had some crack repairs up here, but I can't see it on the inside. You can see a mark there. I don't know if that's... It looks like it had some stickers on it that were underneath the clear coat, and they got peeled off, so now I've got a big, nasty, yucky spot. So I'm not sure how much work we're going to do on this. It might be best to just get another body and do it how I want to do it, or go ahead and just rock it like it is. But I don't know. I'm not sure yet how far I want to take this, what I want to do with it. I know I want to actually drive it. I mean, that's just, these things are a blast to run. I love driving that Sand Scorcher. It's just got, so the gearing's right, and the little stock Tamiya can motors will really give you a lot of oomph, and it's just a blast to drive. So we got a few kinks to work out, but I think it needs a wing. No, I'm not sure. I'm thinking too much RC10 here, but I'm digging it. I still think, you know, these are kind of pricey depending on the age of them. This was about $200, and you know, quarter tank of gas, go get it. But I don't feel I got a bad deal. These are hard to come by. Nice ones on eBay sell for $400 or $500, and everything in the $200 to $250 range that I saw was missing a lot of stuff. And this one was pretty well complete, and yeah, doesn't need a whole lot. I'm gonna do some tires and wheels and rear shocks, probably that output shafts and the whole rear shaft assembly. Then we'll have to do motor electronics stuff and a little more detail. We are missing the lights. I don't have any of the KC lights that go on it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's crazy to think that this kind of advanced level of scale was around when I was born. Back in the early 80s, this was the norm. I forgot to put my antenna back on. I had to take it off. I kept hitting myself in the face with it. I was afraid I was going to put my eye out with this thing. But it's I like it. Love old Tamiya stuff. I know it's got a huge following. Everybody gets excited about this stuff, it seems like. And I'm no exception. But anyways, I just keep this short. Go on eBay now and spend some time looking at parts I probably shouldn't buy yet. And yeah, keep a scale. Oh, I did want to say this would be perfect for the 4Runner to pull on a trailer. I think this is what the 4Runner needs to haul with a trailer. Now I just gotta find a trailer. I do have a Yoda bumper with a trailer hitch, so we could throw that on there and have a little trailer. 4Runner could take the Rough Rider out and do some bashing around. But they look good together. It looks like it's very 80s. You know, you got your new 4Runner. You go out to the Baja and drive your buggy on the weekends. But let me know what y'all want to see. Want to see me do with this thing? You want to see me do the 3D printed engine and all that on the back and update the body a little bit. And yeah. Anyways, see y'all in the next video.